Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakmalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And last time we discussed the wonderful pastime of Kalia Daman, how Krishna subdued the serpent Kalia. And after banishing Kalia from Yamuna, Lord, he told Kalia that now you please leave this Yamuna and go to your previous place of Ramanaka island. And don't be fearful of Garuda, because when Garuda will see my footprints on your head, he will not kill you, he will not attack you. And since then on, Kalia, he became also one of the great devotees of the Lord. And then, when Parikshit Maharaj, in the 17th chapter, when he heard this whole story of Kalia, so he had a question. Previously, when he was hearing all these pastimes, all this Kalya Leela, he was in such anxiety because he was there right in that Leela. And he was experiencing lots of anxiety, suffering, seeing the condition of the Brajavasis, how Krishna was in the coils of Kalya. But now, after hearing of the safety of the Braj and the happy ending of the story, Parikshit Maharaj, he became very satisfied, sober, pleased, and then he had a doubt. Nagalayam Ramanakam Katham Tyatyaj Kaliya Kritam Kim Va Suparnasya Tenaikena Smanjasam. So he says, Nagalayam Ramanakam Tyajyatavam Katham. Why did Kaliya give up his previous place of Ramanaka island? That Ramanaka is abode of serpents. Why did he leave that place? And why this Suparnasya, that Garuda, why he became antagonistic, why he became envious and inimical towards, not envious, inimical towards Kalia? What was the reason? So Shukdev Goswami, he starts the description. He said, so, to avoid being eaten by Kalia, the serpents in the Ramanaka island, they had made a deal, they had made an arrangement of monthly offering to Garuda. So what would happen that Garuda, because his natural food of Garuda is fish and serpents also. So generally fish, and the serpents, they did not like this. that now and then Garuda would come and he would eat the offerings. So they made a deal with Garuda, and because Garuda was very, very powerful, he is a personal carrier of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. He is very powerful. So they could not kill him, they could not defeat him. So all the serpents they made a deal with Kalia. And actually, Chakravarti Thakur writes that these serpents they were not also very simple people. They had captured few of the humans and they would get other offerings just so that these humans are not eaten. So to avoid the humans being eaten or being bitten, the humans would make offerings to these serpents, and the serpents they would give a part of this offering to Garuda so that he would not kill serpents. Garuda would not kill serpents. So as this was going on, all the serpents they would give their monthly offerings to regular offerings to Garuda, but there was one arrogant serpent, the Kalia. He was the son of Kadru, as we heard the story last time yesterday. So what this Kalia would do, because he was envious of Garuda, one thing is he was not giving his share, and whatever other serpents they would give to Garuda, this Kalia would eat all the offerings himself. And he was very, very proud. Why he was proud? Because of his power and because of his poison. Because he was the leader of all the serpents there, because he is one of the most powerful serpents. And because he had a very powerful poison, so he was completely proud. That is what happens when person has power. Naturally, he becomes proud. As we heard in the story of Vamanadev, Vamanadev when he arrested Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj he was already surrendered soul, and Vamanadev when he arrested Bali Maharaj, he told, Janma karma vayo rupa vidya aishwarya dhanadibhi yadi yasya na bhavet stambha tatrayam mad anugrahat. So Lord is telling, if somebody has high birth, auspicious activities, youthful body, beautiful, handsome body, lots of vidya, wealth, opulence, yadi yasya na bhavet stambha. In spite of all these things, if somebody is not proud, tatrayam mad anugrahat. It is possible only by my mercy. So if somebody has all these things and he is proud, that means it is a natural conclusion that Lord's mercy is not there. Only by the mercy of the Lord one can avoid being proud. Otherwise, this is a tendency of the fallen conditioned soul of the world. Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. I am the controller, I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer. That makes a person proud. Atmasambhavita stabdha dhana mana madanvita, as Bhagavad Gita describes. People who have wealth, they are proud. Atmasambhavita stabdha, they are impudent. They are proud of their wealth. And this Kalia, he was thinking himself to be proud because he had power and he had position. He had the power of his poison and he was the leader of all the serpents. So naturally, he was thinking, why should I surrender? Because this is the natural mindset of a materialistic person. Materialistic people, they don't want to surrender to Krishna. But on the contrary, when we come to spiritual life, the first thing which we hear is become humble. Trinadapi sunichena. That's how spiritual life and material life they are completely opposite. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami Yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. What is day for a spiritualist is night for a materialist. The activities which spiritualist takes pleasure in, materialist, he thinks that all these activities are, you know, abominable. They are lowly. For materialist devotees, they are mad. They think, oh, these people, they are mad. And devotees, they know that materialists are mad in material enjoyment. So this Kalia, he was mad because of the proud, because of the wealth, because of the power, position, and the poison which he had. So the Kalia, he did not give any share, and he disrespected Garuda by taking away whatever share other serpents were giving to, offering to Garuda. So when Garuda, the most powerful carrier of Lord Vishnu, when he came to know, how did he know? Some of those other snakes of that lake, Ramanaka Island, there were some other snakes. They told Garuda, oh, this Kalia, he is not giving offerings and he is eating all the offerings which we are giving. So they told to Garuda. So Garuda, he became so very angry and he rushed towards this Kalia, attacked him with tremendous speed. And Kalia, he saw Garuda coming. He immediately raised his numerous hoods. We heard he had 1,000 hoods, and of these, 101 primary prominent hoods. Immediately, he was ready to counterattack. And he showed his fangs and ferocious tongue, and he just attacked. And with his horrible fiery eyes, he was looking at Garuda and he was just trying to bite him. But Garuda, he was flying so very fast at this Kalia, although he was trying his best. So Kalia, he would attack by two ways. One way was he would throw poison, he would spit poison, and when the enemy is far, he would throw poison at the enemy. And the poison was so very fiery, it would burn the enemy. And when the enemy is near, he would personally bite that enemy. So first Kali, I threw poison, and then when Garuda came near, Kalia, he tried to bite Garuda. But Garuda, he was so very angry. He is called a son of Tarksha. Tarksha means Kashyapa. So he was the son of Kashyapa and Vinata. We have heard the story about the enmity between Vinata and Kaduru. So this Garuda, he counterattacked and he was flying very violently, very with lots of speed, and therefore he could not be bitten by Kalia. And then with his strong, powerful wings, with his left wing, he started beating Kalia. And the left wing, the wings of Garuda, they were looking like gold, golden. They were very golden. So when Kalia was beaten up by the wings of Garuda, he became so very disturbed, distressed. And just to save his life, he left that Ramanak island and came to Yamuna. And then Shukdev Goswami describes that this Yamuna, this place where Kalia came, this was not approachable by Garuda. Why it was not approachable by Garuda? Why Garuda could not enter this lake? Then Shukdev Goswami tells the history. One time, Garuda, because his food is fish, so he would come to this Yamuna, this particular place, the lake, and he would eat the fishes. There was a great sage named Saubhari Muni. He was doing tapasya underwater. We have heard about Saubhari Muni in the ninth canto. He was a great sage and he wanted to avoid any distractions. So he thought, I'll go inside the water of Yamuna. He was there in Vrindavan. And he went inside the waters of Yamuna. And he was doing tapasya there. So generally, if you're staying at some place, generally you develop some affection for other residents who are staying nearby, right? So Shobhari Muni was staying underwater. So naturally, he started developing affection for the fishes. So when Shobhari Muni he saw that this Garuda is coming again and again and is eating the fishes, this is not good. Meenan sukhitan drishtva dinan meena patauhate कृपया शौभारी प्राह तत्राय क्षेममाचरन् मीनान् सुदुःखितान् दृष्ट्वा. So Shobhari, he saw, oh, all these fishes so are they are so very distressed, unfortunate, bichari machliyan, Sudukhitan drishtva. And then this day, Garuda he ate the leader of the fishes. So Shobhari became so very angry. Dinan mean patau hate, mean pata. When the leader of the fishes was devoured by Garuda, oh, Shobhari became so very sad and angry on Garuda. And he uttered a curse. And because he was thinking, I want to show mercy to all these fishes. I should do something because they are all very poor fishes. They cannot do anything. So he cursed Garuda. Prabhupada and the purport describes, and Chakravarti Thakur also writes that Shobhari Muni, he did three offenses. First, he dared to give order to a superior personality. So this is a very instructive pastime. Shobhari Muni, he was thinking himself to be superior. He knew, Chakravarti Thakur writes that he knew that, oh, Garuda is a carrier of Lord Vishnu, but so what? I am also a great sage, and it is my duty to protect all these fishes. So he gave order to the superiors. It is very, very deadly, very, very degrading if a subordinate tries to give instructions to the superior personality, especially when he is wrong. So first he gave order to a superior, and then because he gave curse, Garuda, he was not happy because fishes were the natural food of Garuda. So he obstructed the happiness of Garuda, and third thing, he cursed the pure devotee of the Lord. Garuda is a pure devotee. So to offend a pure devotee, it is like a what to speak of a pure devotee. Offend any devotee. It is like a vajra lep. There is a dhuli lep and there is a vajra lep. So dhuli lep means if you write something on sand, so it can be erased very easily. But Vajralep, if somebody is written on the stone, it is not so easy to erase that. Ordinary pap of the world, ordinary sin of the world, it is like a dhuli lep. You do prayaschitta, it will go away. But offense against a devotee, it is like a Vajralep. It is very difficult to counteract the effect of the offense to a devotee. And therefore this offensive mentality, it is like a matta hati, it is like a mad elephant. So we have to be very, very careful because this spiritual life, it is like walking on a razor's edge. Shurasya dhara nishitas duratyaya. What we are trying to do, it is a very, very difficult and risky task. Why difficult? Because we have to do the simple things every day. Why risky? Because if we offend a devotee out of pride, if we offend a person, a devotee, thinking that, oh, this person is junior to me. This person has come just few days back in Krishna consciousness. I can say something and I will not get affected. No. छोटा बड़ा भक्तगण बंदो सभा श्री चरण सबे मोर करो संतोष श्री रूपा गोसाइयत रूप रघुनाथ जानियत ताई लिखी नाही मोर दोष. Kaviraj Goswami, the writer of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is the PhD. He is writing the PhD scripture. And what is his mood? Chota bada bhaktagan bando sabha sri charan. He is bowing down to each and every devotee, either small or big. Sabha mora kara hasantosh. He is asking, oh devotees, please show mercy. Please be satisfied with my endeavor. Otherwise, it is not possible for me to write this literature. So, therefore, we have to understand that in our spiritual life, devotees play a very, very crucial role. Without devotees, we cannot go to a spiritual world. Without devotees, we cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. So, this Shauvari, he offended not only ordinary devotee, he offended a pure devotee. If one's compassion does not tally with the Supreme Lord's desire, it creates disaster. So, this compassion of Shauvari Muni, he was thinking, I will help these fishes, but that was not the desire of the Lord. So, therefore, when we are feeling compassion, we should know, we should clarify, is it the desire of the Lord? Otherwise, it will create a havoc. Utpata yeva kalpate. It will create a havoc. And that's what happened to Shobari. The Shobari, he cursed Garuda. He said, if Garuda enters this lake again and eats the fish here, he will die immediately. And whatever I am saying is correct. So what he meant is, if Garuda comes and enters this lake but does not eat the fish, he will get the reaction slowly. But if he enters this lake and he eats fishes immediately, he will die. That's what the curse he gave. Immediately, he said, immediately he'll die. And Garuda, because he is a supreme devotee, he is omniscient, he also understood and he respected, because Garuda's curse does not work on, Shobhari's curse does not work on Garuda. But because Garuda, he thought, oh, he's a great sage, so he respected that curse. And he avoided going to that lake after this. Only Kalia knew this story because he had heard from some of his relatives who were staying in this lake, and therefore he decided to go to this lake. And we know what happened to this Shobhari Muni because of this offense to a great devotee like Garuda. Who was Shobhari Muni? We have to understand the powers of Shobhari Muni, that he was staying in the water for 60,000 years. He was doing tapasya underwater without any distraction. Such a great yogi. But he saw two fishes mating and he got so disturbed. We don't even realize when two fishes they come together what they are doing. It is like unthinkable. It is not so gross. But Shobari, such a great sage, he got distracted just by seeing these two fishes mating. Came out of the water and he married. He got a body of a youthful person, because by his powers he assumed the form of a youthful man, and he went and he married 50 daughters of King Mandhata, enjoyed with them for many, many years. And then after that he realized, oh my God, what I have done. I wasted my whole life. Then again he left his family, wives, and the wives also became devotees. They also went with Shobhari Muni to the forest and did tapasya and perfected his life. But just because of this offense, what seemed to be very insignificant distraction, it created a disaster in the life of Shobhari Muni. Similarly, many times, in our spiritual life, even small things may disturb us. We should think that time, am I doing some mistake? Am I doing some offense? Am I offending a devotee? Am I following the scriptures? Am I following the devotees properly? We have to contemplate. If little things which we have left long back again start troubling us, that means there is some problem. Some offense must be there. That's why Krishna withdraws his mercy. He has withdrawn the mercy, and that's why even small things can affect us. So therefore, Shobhari Muni fell down. He was on such a Brahman platform. He was actually a Brahman realized yogi, but he fell down from that position because of the offense to Garuda. And Kalia, he came to know this curse, and he, uh, left, went to this Yamuna. So now, after this, describing this story, Shukdev Goswami comes back to the original story. So then, after Kalia left, Krishna, he rose up out of the waters, and as he rose up, he was wearing wonderful ornaments and wonderful garment, and he was fragrant because the wives of Kali and Kalia, they had given lots of opulent things to Krishna. And when the Brajvasis, they saw, oh, Krishna is coming back, he's all well, they regained their vital functions. They came back to consciousness. They were so very happy. Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, Rohini, and all the Brajvasis. It was their life was coming back. Their life came back. It was a dead person rising again. Even trees came back to life when they saw Krishna coming back. Chakravarti Thakur writes a very interesting thing. He says, when Krishna he came out of the lake, something interesting happened. He came in a very special way, unseen by anybody. So because now here it is described that Krishna was wearing very wonderful garment, jewelry, ornaments, fragrant substances were put, sandalwood paste. So if Krishna walked through the water again, his body, would have become wet again. And how then Brajvasis would see this beauty of Krishna? So actually what happened? Kalia he left, but he gave instructions to all the other snakes. You serve Krishna. You don't become inimical. You become servants of Krishna. So as Krishna was returning, he was not uh, going through the waters. He was just putting his feet on the in the water, but the feet were not going down because the snakes they were there underwater, and Krishna was putting his feet on the snakes, the head of the snakes, and that's how he came out of the water, completely dry. So that's what the beauty of the beauty which Brajvasis saw. And when the Brajvasis, Nanda, Yashoda, they saw, Yashoda Mai was the first one who came forward and giving up all her embarrassment, because generally ladies, they would stay back, they would not express their emotions in public. But this time, Yashoda Mai, she gave up all her embarrassment and she started, in a choked voice, she said, "Oh, my son has come back." Then Nanda Maharaj, who was staying back, who was in the back, because behind Yashoda there were many ladies. So Nanda Maharaj, he also, because generally men, they would not come near women. They would maintain a distance. This time, Nanda Maharaj gave up all that gravity and he walked through the ladies and he came up to the place where Krishna was there. He also became so very happy seeing Krishna, he embraced Krishna. And behind Nanda Maharaj, all the Brajavasi ladies were there, and then the Gopas were there, and at a distance, The young gopis headed by Srimati Radharani, they were standing. And just by looking at seeing Krishna safe, it was as if their life came back. You know, actually, because they were thinking, oh, if Krishna is dead, then what is the use of going back? But now it was as if they returned from death. So everybody was so very happy. And Balram, he was the least, affected by all these things because he knew Anubhavagya. Lord Balram, he is described as Anubhavavit. He knew the powers of his younger brother. So he laughed and he lifted Krishna on his lap and he embraced him and he was repeatedly looking at Krishna. And then all the calves and the cows and the bulls, they came and they also were so very happy. After this, the respectable Brahmanas came. All the Brahmanas came to this place and they told Nanda Maharaj, oh Nanda Maharaj, by the mercy of the Lord, your son has returned without being hurt. Now you please offer your respects by giving charity to Brahmanas. So Nanda Maharaj, he agreed and he called all the Brahmanas and he very happily he gave lots of cows and gold in charity. There was another festival. And then Mother Yashoda, she was also so very happy. Again, after embracing Nanda Maharaj and reciprocating with Balram, again Krishna came back to Yashoda and again embraced Mother Yashoda. And Yashoda was crying torrents of tears just looking at her son. So this is the end of this chapter. This is not the end, sorry. There is some little thing which was remaining. So then after this, the Brajvasis, they became so very tired. They thought, why should we go back? Because they were hungry, thirsty, fatigued. So they thought, now we'll spend the night on the bank, near the bank of Yamuna. Although they were hungry, they did not drink the milk of the cows because they were fearful that these cows have drunk the water of this Yamuna. It was poisoned, so their milk should not become poisoned. They may have become poisoned, so they didn't drink the milk, and they just lied down. They were taking rest on the near the bank of Yamuna. As they were resting, again another fire broke up. Who was this fire? Chakravarti Thakur writes that this fire was actually a demon who was a friend of Kalia. And just to take revenge of the chastisement of Kalia, he had attacked all the Brajvasis. Other acharyas, they say this was a servant of Kamsa who came to kill all the Brajvasis, to burn all these Brajvasis. So when this fire broke up, all the Brindavan residents, they became alarmed. They also got up, disturbed by the fire and the heat. They all went to Krishna. For Brajvasis, Krishna was their everything. They took shelter of Krishna. Why they took shelter of Krishna? Because Garga Muni had said, Eshava Shreya Adasyad Gopa Gokula Nandanaha Anena Sarva Durgani Yuyam Anjastarishyatha. By your son's power, you'll cross all the obstacles. They had faith. They knew that. They had faith in the words of Garga Muni. And they knew Narayan enters this Krishna, and that's how Krishna becomes so very powerful. They never accepted Krishna as God, but they understood, they thought, oh, Krishna is empowered by Narayan. That is the beauty of Brajvasis. They never accept Krishna as God. So all the Brajvasis, they go to Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Mahabhaga, He Rama, Mita Vikrama, Esha Ghora Tamo Vahani, Tavakan Grasate Hina. O Krishna Mahabhaga, most fortunate one. O Rama, O Balram, you are the reservoir of unlimited pleasure. This intolerable fire is troubling us. Please save us because we are Tavakan, we are your devotees. The inhabitants, all the Brajvasis, they called to Krishna, was told they called to Balram because they knew Balram is also very powerful. And then they say, Sudustaranna swan pahi kalagne surida prabhu na shaknumastvaccharanam shankattum santattum akuto bhayam. So they are saying, O Lord, O Krishna, we are your true friends. We are your devotees. Please protect us. Please protect us from this fire. They are saying we cannot give up your lotus feet, but if we die because of this fire, we will have to give up your lotus feet. So they are not afraid of death. They are afraid of giving up the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the mood of Brajvasis. That makes Brajvasis the supreme devotees. They are not afraid of death. They are fearful that if we'll die, we'll get separated from Krishna. So the more we develop a feeling of not able to practice Krishna consciousness properly because of some circumstances, because of some situations, if some devotees they travel some other place, then there are no association of devotees. How much we are eager for their association, how much we are missing that association. If someone thinks, okay, chalega, anyways, I cannot do much, so life will go on. If that is the mood, then Krishna will not show mercy. That means we have not imbibed this process of Krishna consciousness. The more we go away from process, from devotees, from the main direct activities of Krishna consciousness, the more we should increase our hankering. Our greed should increase. That is the test of our advancement. As it is described, that when a traveler, he comes back after traveling, he takes shelter of his home, he becomes peaceful and satisfied. Similarly, a devotee, when he takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, he becomes satisfied. So all these Brajvasis, they pray to Krishna that please Krishna, this Kal Agni, this fire of death should not take us away from your lotus feet. So when Krishna, he saw his devotees so disturbed, he is a supreme powerful Lord. What is impossible for him? He is Ananta Shakti. He has infinite power. Immediately, he swallowed the forest fire. And all the Brajvasis, when they saw this wonderful feat, they became so very happy. And then, in the next chapter, which is entitled Lord Balram Slays the Demon Pralamba, Shukdev Goswami continues the description that once Krishna, he was surrounded by his companions. Balram was there, and all the cowherd boys were there. They chant. They were going. So no. After this, what happened? So after this, Krishna and all the Brajvasis, they returned to Vrindavan, to the village. And as they were returning, all the cowherd boys, they were singing the glories of Krishna. So then, in this way, Krishna and Balram, they were enjoying in Vrindavan. So now Shukdev Goswami starts another story. Vraje vikridato revam gopal chadma mayaya grishmo namartur abhavan nati preyan sharirina. So now in due course of time, summer arrived in Vrindavan. And this summer season is not so pleasurable for the embodied souls. Most of the people, they don't like summer. Most people like winter, because in winter health remains good and everything is very wonderful. Nobody likes summer. People like spring season, winter season. Nobody likes summer. So then, as Krishna and Balram, they were playing in Vrindavan, performing so many pastimes. Gopal Chadma Maya. Gopal, Krishna, he was behaving as an ordinary cowherd boy. But when summer season arrived in Vrindavan, it was not the summer of current age. It was not summer of Mumbai or Delhi. It was summer of Brindavan. Summer of Brindavan was amazingly pleasing. Sacha Brindavan gunair vasanta iva lakshatai yatraste bhagwan sakshat ramena sah Keshava. Because the summer season of Brindavan was manifesting the characteristics of spring. Vasanta iva lakshitai. Why? Are because Krishna and Balram are personally there. So when Krishna and Balram are there, so all the seasons they were behaving like spring, and therefore it was so very pleasing to stay in Vrindavan. What was the characteristic of spring, the summer of Vrindavan? In summer of Vrindavan, there was nice sound of the waterfalls, and when the uh, wind would blow over the lakes, the wind would carry the droplets, and the trees on the shore they would be moistened by the water droplets. And therefore, and apart from that, there were the sound of crickets. Generally the crickets they make sound in the spring season or the rainy season. But in summer of Brindavan, there was the sound of crickets, giving an illusion of spring. And the water which was blowing over the lakes, it would carry the fragrance of various lilies and lotus, and it would carry the pollen, and entire Vrindavan area would be fragrant. So in short, there was no sadness in Vrindavan, there was only joy. Everybody was happy. Brajavasis, they did not suffer the heat of Vrindavan. They were enjoying because Vrindavan, it was abundant with all the trees and the lakes, and there was fresh grass everywhere. We can see in the rainy season, the area, the land is covered with fresh grass. But in summer season, the grass is gone and it is all bare land which is seen. But Vrindavan was always covered with grass. And then the rivers of Vrindavan, they would make the banks muddy because the waves would constantly go towards the shore, and the uh, sh- the shores would be muddy and damp, so there was no sign of dryness. The rays of the sun could not evaporate the water, and ultimately it was a very very pleasing atmosphere. There are flowers everywhere, peacocks, all cuckoos, cranes, parrots, they would be singing. That was a season of Vrindavan. In this Vrindavan, Krishna and Balram, they were enjoying. What they were playing, what how they were enjoying, Shukdev Goswami describes that Krishna, along with Balram, he would go to the forest. Whenever he would go to the forest with all the cowherd boys, they would be playing flute. Shukdev Goswami says that especially this day, one day, specially Krishna was accompanied by Balram. Why he's saying specially? It will be revealed in some time. Why special mention of Balram is there? And he says that he played his flute also in a very special way, just to increase the excitement of the boys. He wanted all the boys to play. So all the boys, they would be already decorated. We have heard earlier also Yashoda Mai and Rohini, they would dress Balram with lots of ornaments and the jewelry made up of pearls and the gunjamala. But when the cowherd boys, they would go to Brindavan forest, they would decorate again Krishna and Balram. They would decorate themselves with peacock feathers, with newly grown leaves, with flower birds, and with the forest minerals which was available there. They would make garland and they would wear garland of the forest flowers, vanmala. And in this way, they would dance, they would sing, they would enjoy. Krishna would also dance. And all the other cowherd boys, some would sing, some would play instruments, some would play hand cymbals, and somebody would play buffalo horns. In this way, they would enjoy. Others would praise Krishna's dancing and singing. In fact, all these wonderful pastimes of Krishna, they were so very attractive that even devatas, they were hankering to come and witness all these pastimes. So they could not come in original form, because all the Brajvasis, these Gopas, they would become, filled with awe and reverence. They would start worshipping them. So they would disguise themselves as cowherd boys. Lord Shiva would come, Narad Muni would come, many great devatas would come just to witness the pastimes of Krishna as a small child. What are the various plays he would play? Brahmanair lingane shepair asphotana vikarshanaih chikriyadaturni kaka paksha dharo kvachit. A very wonderful description. What are the plays which Krishna would play? Brahmanair. Brahmanair means sometimes they would imitate the movements of machine, and they would whirl around so fast till the time they would feel dizzy. It happens if you are whirling around, just like in Kirtan when we dance, some devotees they whirl around and they become dizzy, and some people fall also. Some people, they when they are whirling, just by their facial expressions, you can understand, ye bhi girne wala hai. Brahmanair. So that's how these gopas they would play. Langhanair. Sometimes they would catch other gopas and they would throw each other, and others would catch them. They would throw gopas there, just like many times small children they do. Shepair. They would jump over, and shepai means they would throw each other. Langhanair, shepair. And asphotana. Asfotan means sometimes they would climb, they would, slap over another shoulders or back. Sometimes just like children they do, they slap over shoulders. Asfotan, vikar shanai. And meanwhile, as they would be playing, other boys they would come and they would start dragging them in between, in the midst of their play. Chikrid tur nyuddhena, and they would have a mock fight. They would not fight out of anger. They would fight out of very wonderful, pleasurable thing, as a just fun. And sometimes what Krishna would do, kaka paksha dharo kvachit. Sometimes Krishna would catch hold of the shikha of the other cowherd boys and he would pull them. What is this kaka paksha? There are three meanings which Chakravarti Thakur gives. One is the shikha. Another is sometimes the cowherd boys, they would braid their hair in three threads. And other explanation about Kaka Paksha is some cowherd boys, they would have curls of hair in front of their ears, so Krishna would catch them. That's how they were playing. Sometimes other boys would dance, and Krishna would congratulate. Krishna Balram would glorify. Oh, well done, very good, very good. Keep dancing. They would appreciate. Sometimes Krishna and all the cowherd boys, they would they would play a game of throwing balls. Sometimes they would play balls made up of bilva fruit, sometimes a ball of kumbha fruit. These are the different fruits which grows in Vrindavan. Sometimes they would make a ball of amalaki or avla fruits and they would throw at each other. And sometimes they would play a game in which one person would close his eyes, other persons they would hide, and this person had to find, hide and seek. They would play hide and seek. Sometimes one boy would go from the back and he would cover the eyes, and then this person had to guess who is this personality. Just like people, just small children, they do many times. Sometimes they would imitate the movements of the animals and the birds, imitating their voices. That's how they would play. In between, the cowherd boys, in between Krishna would take rest. We heard the discussion this past time, that in between the plays Krishna would take rest sometimes. So in this resting phase, some of the cowherd boys, what they would do during this time, sometimes some Brajvasi gopis, small young gopis, they would pass by carrying yogurt, butter. So these cowherd boys, they would go and ask for tax, and they would steal butter from them. They would tell them, now you have to give this tax. And then they would steal butter, they would go away. Sometimes they would play, sometimes they would play as in a fun, they would cross the river by boats. All these are different plays Krishna would be playing. Sometimes they would jump like the frog, sometimes they would joke, sometimes they would ride on the swings. In this way, Krishna was enjoying. And sometimes they would behave as they would imitate the kings. The word used is nripacheshtaya. Nripacheshtaya means they would behave as kings, imitate as kings. So the cowherd boys, they would obstruct the path of the cowherd girls, the gopis, and they would ask for the tax. Just like the kings, they ask tax. If you want to go, you'll have to pay the tax. What is the tax? You have to give butter, you have to give yogurt. That's how they would sometimes tease the young gopis. So then, as Krishna Balram, they were absorbed in playing. They were tending cows and the calves, and they were in this forest of Vrindavan. There was a demon called Pralamba. He entered this place. He was sent by Kamsa. He entered this place. He disguised himself in the form of a young cowherd boy. And this Pralambasur, he was very expert. He did all the homework very nicely. He knew that one boy had not come that day because he had some other work at home. He took the form of this cowherd boy. But Krishna is omniscient. He knows everything. He understood that, oh, he's a demon. He has disguised himself. But he didn't say anything. He pretended to accept demon as friend. He thought, okay, what he'll do? Yeah, let's have some fun. But he was thinking how to kill this demon. So then Krishna, who is the knower of all the games, he called all the cowherd boys. He said, oh, my friends, please come, we'll play. What is the play we'll be playing now? We will divide ourselves in two teams. Okay, then? So he said, first divide. So okay, all the cowherd boys, they divide themselves. Some went on the side of Krishna, some, and Krishna and Balram, they were naturally the leaders. So some boys, they went to the side of Krishna, others went to the side of Balram. And then Krishna told, okay, now you have divided yourself. So now we'll be playing the game of carriers and passengers. What is that? So he said, we'll be having a tug of war, and whoever loses, the loser will have to carry the winner on his back. That is a game of carriers and passengers. Okay, so everybody agreed, but they thought, oh, this place is not good. We'll go to Bhandervat. So Bhandervat is described in great details by Jiva Goswami. Why did they go to Bhandervat? Because Bhandervat is a banyan tree. A huge banyan tree was there in Vrindavan. Bhanderakavat. And it had a long accessory roots going down. And these boys, they could catch hold of these branches, and with that they could mount the shoulders of the loser nicely. So therefore they went to this place. So this Bhandervat, it was a huge tree, and the leaves and the foliage, it was like covering the sky. It was looking like a mountain covering half of the sky. It had various wonderful leaves, various fruits were there, and there were many birds. Some birds were blue, some other colors, and it was a very colorful tree because of the birds which were there. It was looking like a rainbow in the sky. It was looking like a house which was decorated with leaves and the foliage. And this description, this Jiva Goswami gives from Vishnu Puran. So All the Gopas, they went to this place because already it was summer. So it was a huge tree, so they would play beneath this tree so they would not get sun, direct sun. So Shukdev Goswami says, so Sridama, Vrishabha, and some other, they were on the side of Balram. So they were victorious and Krishna lost. So Krishna and his followers, they had to carry Balram, the party of the Balram on their back. So Krishna carried Sridama and Bhadrasen, another cowherd boy, he carried Vrishabha, and Pralamba, he carried Balram. How is it possible that Supreme Lord is defeated by ordinary cowherd boys? He is Akhila Shakti Dhara. He is Akhila Koti Brahmanda Nayak. How can a Supreme Lord be defeated by small cowherd boys? Krishna, he enjoys submitting himself to the strength of his friends. He wants, he likes this more. So as it is described, Mata Mora Putra Bhave Korena Bandhan Atihina Gyane Kore Lalana Palan. Oh, my mother binds me just thinking that, oh, he's a small boy. If I'll not feed, who will feed my child? You know. Sakha more Shuddha Bhave Skandhe Arohan. Tumi ko na bada lok tumi morasam. Oh, my friends, they climb on my shoulders and they say, oh, what type of great personality are you? You are like us. We are equals. Priya more Shuddha Bhave Kare Bharat San. Sarva Veda Stuti Hare Hare Moraman. Hare, when gopis they chastise me, that chastisement is more dear than the words and the hymns of the Vedas. So Krishna likes all this. Just like a father when he's having a mock fight with his child. So child kicks the father and father falls on the ground and he says, "Oh, don't beat me." And when the child laughs, the father also smiles. Father also takes great pleasure. That is the pleasure which Krishna is getting in being defeated by all the cowherd boys. So then when Pralamba, he carried Balram, he understood that Krishna is very powerful. So he already, he chose to be on the side of Krishna because he thought, first I will tackle with this, handle this Balram. So he went to the side of Krishna. And then ultimately, Pralambasur, he was carrying Balram. And this Pralamba, he carried Balram far beyond the actual stop. He took away far, far in the forest. And when Balram, he saw that, oh, this person is taking me far beyond. He first laughed, then he became astonished, and then he became apparently fearful also. How the Supreme Lord Balram becomes fearful? Actually, he is behaving like an ordinary child because he is in the mood of this pastime. So this Pralamba, as he's carrying this demon, this demon, as he's carrying Balramji, he started becoming heavy like a Sumeru mountain. And Pralamba, he could not run faster, he had to slow down. And then he thought, oh, now I will not be in the form of this cowherd boy. He assumed his great original form of demon. And he was very huge. He was having ornaments, helmet, earrings, and they were looking very effulgent. They were shining. He was looking like a cloud which is illuminated by thunderbolt and with a moon. What was the moon? Moon was Balram. So this Pralamba, so his body was black and he was wearing ornaments which were effulgent. They were shining. And Balram, who was on the shoulders of Pralamba, so he was looking like the moon. So when Balram, he saw this gigantic body of demon, he became more fearful. Chakravarti Thakur writes that Balram, he became fearful because of three reasons. First, he thought that this boy, first actually he was in the role of ordinary cowherd boy, so that's why he behaved as if he was becoming fearful and frightened. Secondly, Balram was thinking, oh, Krishna has accepted this demon as his friend, so now I'll have to kill him. So he was apprehensive. And thirdly, he was thinking, Balram was thinking that, oh no, just like this demon is attacking me, maybe some other demon is attacking Krishna. That's how he became fearful. And then when Krishna, he saw that Balram is becoming unnecessarily fearful, he sent his knowledge potency, and Balram came out of all that thought process. He remembered his powers, and then he understood, okay, so this is a demon, he's trying to kidnap me. He took his fist and he struck him on his head. Immediately the head cracked open and this demon started vomiting blood. He felt dizzy, and ultimately, with just one uh, attack, fist, one striking of this Balram, this demon fell dead. It was just like Indra who attacks the mountains with his thunderbolt. So this Pralambasur, he fell dead. Immediately he fell dead. And by that time, all the cowherd boys, they reached that place, and when they saw, oh, this great demon is killed, they glorified him and then say, oh, well done, oh, Balramji, well done, what great thing you have done. And all the devtas, when they saw, oh, just see this great demon Pralambasur is killed, they all showered flowers. They praised Balramji. They glorified him with choicest prayers. They became so very happy. This Pralambasur, actually, he attained liberation because he was killed by Lord Balram. He attained liberation. And then, this another very short chapter is there. We'll take this also. This 19th chapter is entitled The Swallowing of the Forest Fire. So when this one day cowherd boys, they were absorbed in playing along with Krishna and Balram, their cows, they wandered far, far away. And as they were going far, the heat of the forest fire, there was a forest fire nearby. Because of the heat of this forest fire, the cows became so very distressed. They were they were experiencing intense thirst. And the other animals, they were also getting disturbed. The goats, the buffaloes, and the other creatures, they were also getting disturbed, being tormented by this fire. And they were crying. When Krishna and Balram and all the cowherd boys, when they saw, oh, our cows are not there, they became so very distressed. Because for a Vaishya, for the cowherd community, cows are their everything. So they are thinking, oh, our wealth is lost. How we will maintain ourselves? What face will I show to our elders? We were so very absorbed in playing, we did not even realize we have lost our cows. So they started tracing back the cows by their hoof prints. Even after searching for a long, long time, they could not find. And ultimately, after a long search, finally they found the cows. And they became so very happy. And as they were about to return back, suddenly a forest fire started again. And this forest fire immediately covered Krishna and all the cows, and the cows started running. Krishna called all the cows by names, and the cowherd boys, they approached Krishna again. Krishna Krishna Mahavira Hera Mamogha Vikrama Davagnina Dahyamana Prapannam Stratumarhatha. So when this fire started, it was blazing. It was like already spreading very fast because the wind was also blowing. and the wind was taking the flames of the fire everywhere. It was spreading very fast. Sparks were shooting everywhere in all the directions. So all the cowherd boys, they became completely bewildered. Krishna, Krishna, out of anxiety, they are calling Krishna twice. Oh Mahavira, you are supremely powerful. Hey Rama Mogha Vikrama. Oh Balram, you are the reservoir of all the power. They are calling Krishna and Balram first together. They are saying, Are we are burning in this fire. Please do something. We are your surrendered souls. Please help. And then they ask specifically Krishna. Nunam tvad bandhava Krishna na char hantum avasaditum vayam hi sarva dharmagya tvannatha tvatparayana. Specifically now they are telling Krishna, they are requesting Krishna, oh Krishna, we are your friends and we should not be destroyed. We are your friends. Please protect us. You are dharmagya. You know all the religious principles. And who are we? We have accepted you as our Lord. So please save us. So when Krishna he heard all these prayers, all these requests of the friends of all the cowherd boys, he said, okay, my dear friends, don't worry, don't be afraid, just close your eyes. So the cowherd boys, they closed their eyes, believing in the words of Krishna, because they knew Krishna can protect us. Why? Are Gargamuni has said, Eshavashreya Adasyat Gop Gokula Nandana Anena Sarva Durgani Yuya Manjastarisyatare बचाएगा अपने को. He will protect us. So he is our Lord. And also and the friends they were thinking, oh Krishna knows everything. He has some mystic mantras. He knows the power of jewels. And you know when the power of jewels and the mantras they work when nobody is seeing. So if we close our eyes, then nobody is there. We are not seeing, so the power of Krishna will work. You know. So they thought that's why Krishna is telling, and they very innocently they closed their eyes. And Krishna, he very easily he swallowed the entire forest fire. What happened actually? There is a story Chakravarti Thakur writes. He says that actually, uh, when Krishna, when all the cowherd boys they told that we are suffering, you know, Krishna was also thirsty and he wanted to drink something. So the fire, he was unable to do anything against Krishna. So fire turned into a very cooling, fragrant drink. And Krishna drank that forest fire. Another story it says that, Yog Maya, when he saw, oh, Krishna is about to drink forest fire, swallow forest fire. No, we cannot allow this. So Yog Maya, she came and personally she took she took this forest fire in front of her and she took it in front of Krishna. So anyways, after swallowing this forest fire, Krishna he told, oh friends, now please open your eyes, I have prevented the fire. So when cowherd boys they opened their eyes, they saw, oh, not only the fire stopped, they were uh, uh, transported to the Bhandirvat. And when they saw the wonderful mystic potency of Krishna, they all smiled, they started laughing, and they were appreciating and glorifying Krishna. And they were thinking, oh, Krishna, he must be supreme, he must be some devata. The cowherd boys, they never accepted Krishna as supreme. They saw the display of Krishna's mystic power. That is the difference between the cowherd boys and Arjuna. When Arjuna he saw Vishwaroop, he started trembling. He said, oh Krishna, please forgive me. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam. I did not know your power. Maya pramadat pranayena vapi yachava samasat kritosi vihara shayyashana bhojane. Are I offended you? I called you, hey Krishna, hey Yadav, hey Sakhe. Please forgive me. But these cowherd boys, they never changed their consciousness. Their consciousness was same. He is some supreme devata. He is empowered by Vishnu, but he is our friend. So they glorified Krishna, and then Krishna and Balram, he came back along with the cows and they entered Braja. Then in the last verse, the position of the gopis are described by Shukdev Goswami, the young gopis of Vrindavan. Gopinam paramanandam asid govinda darshane shanam yugashata iva yasam yena vinabhavam. When for gopis, Paramananda, the sight of Krishna, it was the greatest bliss of gopis. Asit Govind Darshane. Whole day they were in separation. For gopis, every moment was like hundred of years, hundreds. Yugaitam Nimeshena. And therefore, when they would see Krishna in the evening, all their distress would be gone. So this is the beautiful pastime. So this is the end of this chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.